Now, your Local 2 Weather Authority forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist John Mayer here, and we are continuing to track all of that thunderstorm activity that continues to develop this evening. By this point, though, at least the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings have been canceled, but can't say the same about the flood advisories. They are still out there in full force. We've got one down in Brewster County going to be in effect for the next hour or so, and we've got another one up to the north, just barely clipping Howard and Borden counties. This one primarily is off to the east, where they're still seeing a lot of that heavy rainfall. But that'll be in effect until 1 a.m. And then this one off to the north, just to that. This is where we're looking at in Borden County, where we still have some of that heavy rainfall, some of those stronger thunderstorms developing. And again, this will be in effect for the next 2 hours until 12:15 a.m. Now, for the time being, this is the major concern, all of this heavy rainfall that we're seeing out there, because the rain still not done. We're going to have a chance to see more of those showers and storms into the overnight hours, but at least the severe weather threat for the time being looks like it's moved off to the east. Really not seeing a whole lot of that here in the viewing area, but still, well, the hail not completely gone just yet. It's just barely off to the north of Borden County, but still we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inch hail associated with these storms. Now, this isn't necessarily what's reaching the ground, but still, this is what we're seeing up in the clouds. Definitely some more of that really strong thunderstorm activity potential as we move through the next couple of hours. But the big concern again is the rainfall. Now, so far we've picked up anywhere from 1 to 2 inches in most locations, but if you get a little bit creative as far as where you look and what pixels you actually click on here on our radar, you can get these numbers much higher. If we go down here into Howard County, we start to see some 2, some 3, some 4.5 inch rain. I mean, this is something that we're definitely looking at, with a lot of rainfall making its way through. Locally exceptionally heavy, and just off to the east as well, more of those rain totals getting up around 4 to 4.5 inches. Now, with these storms in Borden County still developing into a little bit of hail, when we take a look at this storm, looking at it vertically, how it's setting up, the good news is these storms are starting to shrink a little bit. A few hours ago, we saw these cloud tops up well over 50,000 feet, definitely higher than 10 miles with some of these cloud tops out there, but now they're starting to shrink a little bit. That hail core is dropping a little bit closer to the surface. That's where we start to see those purples. They're definitely a lot closer down towards the surface, and that's giving us, well, a little bit of calming out there. These storms not quite as strong as what we had earlier today, and that's the good news, but we're still not completely done. Again, this is still forecast to produce some hail nearly a half inch, and that's certainly nothing to sneeze at, but not quite developing into those severe thunderstorm thresholds. Not quite high enough for that, but still a lot of activity expected over the next few hours. Our hour-by-hour forecast, yeah, it clears us out a little bit here in the basin, but more storms expected south of I-10. This is where we still have some of those flood advisories, and this is why we're expecting even more rainfall down around Fort Stockton, down into the southern part of the viewing area. And if we do indeed pick that up, well, we're going to continue to see some issues out there. Not necessarily flash flooding. This is more of a long-term event, but we've picked up so much rainfall, it's certainly going to be something to keep a close eye on. Now, tomorrow we'll have a chance for a little bit more of that severe weather in our forecast for the overnight hours south of I-10, but then a chance to pick up a little bit into the basin once we get into Saturday afternoon and evening. Chance for a little bit of calming, though, near the sunrise hours, but once we move later on in the day, that's when we see some more of those storms developing for us out there. And once we get this second line in, that'll be likely our last chance to really see any of that severe weather out there. But the Storm Prediction Center is still giving us marginal risk for severe weather for most of the basin, even a slight risk off to the north, and that certainly means that we could be talking about more severe thunderstorms, more hail, more damaging winds. Slight chance for some tornadic activity, seems very unlikely, but can't rule it out completely. Again, this is primarily going to be hail and wind damage that we're talking about. And, well, just to add insult to injury, still not looking too good on the pollen forecast either. Mold spores, grass pollen, weed pollen, all coming in a little bit high out there, and that's been an issue for us for a good long while now. Continues to be something that we're tracking out there in our forecast, and with more rain on the way, doesn't look like it'll be dropping anytime soon. Those highs today, though, got into the 90s. All of that warm air really helped to fuel a lot of these storms, and it looks like we're going to have a chance to maintain some some of that heat as we move into this weekend as well. The northern basin still looking at those temperatures getting into the lower 90s, 92 degrees in Andrews tomorrow, more 92s in Odessa and Midland, but check that out down around Grand Falls, Barstow. That's where we're really starting to see some of that heat all the way into the mid-90s there in the Trans-Pecos. Definitely going to be a hot one as we make our way into this weekend. Keep in mind our average temperatures should be down around the mid-80s by this point in time, so this is certainly well above average temperatures in our forecast all the way into the start of next week. Fall, not going to feel a whole lot like fall out there. That temperature of 89 degrees Thursday and Friday, going to be a warm one, but for now, hey, let's focus on those storms. Still some more chances as we move overnight.